Home for live Grizzly Athletics on the Grizzly Digital Network. We would like to thank our corporate sponsors who have made today's game possible. For more information, log on to grizzlyathletics.com. Now, here's voice of the Grizzlies, Matt Mahony.
Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, here to Grizzlies Live at Newk's Eatery. I'm Matt Mahony, as always, your host, and today we have a special episode for you. We're going to count down the top 10 accomplishments for Grizzly Athletics in the 2013-14 season. And joining me, co-hosting, is going to be our Assistant AD for Communication and Marketing, Ned Colegrove. Ned, how are we doing today?
Matt, doing great. It's summertime. It was a long season, and summer's here.
Put one word on the season. Was it great, amazing, awesome, unbelievable?
It was fulfilling.
Yes.
I would say pretty fulfilling.
And beyond our wildest dreams, too.
Absolutely. Just the thought that we had, certainly in building the program, we thought that this type of success, or what this success can be, would be coming, but to have some of that happen so quickly, extremely fulfilling for everything that we've done this year.
We'll count down the top 10 accomplishments during this, so we'll also have a special treat for all you folks at home there at the end. We'll have images of the year for you. Should be a nice video put together for you. Before we get into the countdown, let's set it up and how we came to this list. We took nominations from our staff. The fans voted in as well. They've been all over our website, and what great feedback we've gotten, as always.
Yeah, and we've had it out there on social media. Certainly, everything that all the nominees have been on the Grizzly Digital Network from Matt's work all year long. So there were a lot of moments to choose from. You know, we had our images, our moments, but then we wanted to rank our top accomplishments. And give it a top 10 and try as best as we could to put it in an order that makes sense. It was very tough, and I know you'll kind of touch on, certainly we'll touch on all those, but we wanted to listen to the fans. We had a lot of people submit their favorites, and then certainly with the staff and the coaching staff and all of us with Grizzly Athletics tried to wrap our head around the enormous amount of success already that we had.
And what the tough part is you and I both know the complete list, top 10, 10 through 1. What's on there that maybe special to you, your favorite moment of the year, your favorite accomplishment that's not on this list, to put things in perspective? Because I know I got one that just blows my mind.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough to say one. I think there's multiple, I guess accomplishments or events that stick out in my mind, but just all the moments throughout the year that may not have made it to the top 10 on the list, but I would think a big impact for me, and certainly everything that I've been doing this year personally is the response from the fans, and having, when it came time to the championship season was being played, whether it was our softball tournament or conference tournament or our baseball regional, to have that support and have folks out there really get behind what we were doing and what we're doing here in the community is a big moment.
And mine piggybacks that. Back in the fall, you and I get a text message from Steve DeCou, who's in Arkansas somewhere, and says, I think we may have a SportsCenter top 10 moment. And I was like, okay, I'll be the judge of that. And then he shows me Renee's bike. Yeah. We put it on YouTube, and it goes viral like that. I'll never forget the day you would call me, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? This, that, and the other. Hey, did you see Renee's video? I was like, yeah, it's got 2,000 hits. You're like, no, it's 8,000. And then we would converse in the afternoon, and it's up to 10 and 20, and it spread like wildfire. And that's when I kind of went, wow, this position, the school I'm at, and the Gwinnett County and the community we're in, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And that, by the way, is not in our top 10 of the year. It's
just I think the impact, to your point, that just of what we're starting and where we sit and the opportunity that we have and that all of our student athletes have to tell this story. It's been a fun story. We've enjoyed having you guys with us through 13-14, and it's been nice to now we kind of put a bow on that 13-14 and look ahead.
Well, without further ado, let's get right into it. We'll start with number 10 here, and again, these are the top 10 accomplishments for Grizzly Athletics in the 2013-14 season. At number 10 on the top accomplishments of the 2013-14 season, how about Grizzly Athletics' overall record? The 6 Grizzly sports combined for an impressive mark of 160 wins, just 36 losses, and 2 ties. As a result, the Grizzlies in the 2013-14 season have an overall winning percentage of .808. Translation, the Grizzlies won 80% of the games they played in wearing the green and gray. At number 10, it's the overall winning percentage of Grizzly Athletics. Wow. 808 winning percentage for Grizzly Athletics. That's all sports, and probably the number that I love. 160 wins, 36 losses, and 2 ties. 2 measly ties. Can you name the 2 ties?
I think we had a women's soccer tie in the fall. And
it makes sense because 6 overtime games for Coach Martelli's team.
And Sarah's here.
So it makes sense for them to tie one of them, right?
Yeah,
and then the other one.
They had an unbelievable amount of long, close overtime games. And then softball in the spring, which I think was a travel situation and a run out of daylight situation, that kind of thing.
And so Coach Eilenberg already knows going into next year, it's one more. It's kind of like one more win, one more rep, one more, to vote.
They might have just needed one more inning.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If the tie is a win, now it's 40 wins, and who knows what their season could have been.
Well, and that 808 mark, I think, you could arguably put that at number 1. I mean, just to summate what we did on the year. But I think in the fall, we were, certainly with men's and women's soccer, we thought, wow, we're running at a really good clip, and certainly they had improved themselves significantly over, what they had accomplished in the first year. And then, we kind of got talking about that during the spring season. It really became a storyline of, wow, look at where we're at. And unfortunately, unless you're the tennis teams and you win your last match, you're going to end the season on a loss.
Right.
More times than not. So I think the last few, with softball and baseball, a couple of those losses, they might have been 8-15 or 8-20 at one point. It's really incredible. So it's pretty neat that you kind of could wrap that all together like that.
Very nice. And so it's just another phenomenal accomplishment. We'll keep the ball rolling here. That was number 10. Let's take a look at number 9 on our top 10 list. In the first year of NAI eligibility, Grizzly Athletics housed 18 honors at the All-American level. These Grizzlies were headlined by 6 first-team members, 3 second-team selections, and 8 honorable mentions. Grizzlies women's tennis national championship team hailed the most with 8 members in total. Men's tennis national championship squad recognized 6 members. Meanwhile, softball, baseball, women's soccer, and men's soccer each received 1 recognition. Appearing at number 9 on the top accomplishments of the year, 18 Grizzly All-Americans. Now, Ned, this top 10 list we have, or anything that's probably happened this year, I can tell you the story. I was either there or I talked to a coach. I've been involved all year long. I can explain how things have happened. 18 All-Americans in 1 year. I cannot explain that. Can you help me out?
I can't, although the only thing I can think of to draw on that one is I think at some point, and certainly with Renee and Jocelyn in the fall as our first, that was the first men's and women's male and female All-American honors that kind of set the tone. And then at a certain point in the tennis season when our men's tennis team was literally beating all comers and our women's tennis team had reached number 1 in the country, and I had looked at the previous year's All-Americans and I had looked at where those teams had finished on the season, and I started to think, how many could we maybe get from the 2 tennis teams? And certainly they ended up being a huge bulk of that list based on what they had done on the courts, and they deserved it. They earned every one of those accolades.
It's just another remarkable accomplishment. And again, who else would have 18 All-Americans at number 9 on this list?
That speaks to the difficulty that we had, and hopefully we're not offending anybody with where we have placed all of these. But again, it's our best shot, and we've got a lot to choose from.
So some of the more individual accomplishments we put here at number 9, and it continues here with number 8. Let's see where we're at. It's hard to imagine being the best coach in 2 genres of tennis, but that's exactly what Coach Hodges accomplished. In his 13th season as the head coach and only the 2nd year at GGC, the NAI honored Chase Hodges as both the men's and the women's NAI Coach of the Year. The national award has dawned upon the man who built, managed, and led Grizzly tennis to not 1, but 2 national championships in their first year of NAI eligibility. It's one man at number 8, 2-time NAI Coach of the Year, Chase Hodges. So all great things comes in 2s for Chase Hodges. His 2 national championships, 2-time NAIA coach. He's the best tennis coach at our level for both men's and women's tennis. And to his credit, if he wants to complain about where he's at number 8, it's his own fault because his teams are on here 3 more times.
And so we sit here today, Matt, and this is, you can't script this, so it's June 25th, right, 2014, if you can believe it. And this one's, this is pretty personal for me too, because exactly 2 years ago today, June 25th, was my first day and Chase's first day, our first day, which happened to be, you can't write this, was the groundbreaking for the Grizzly Athletics complex.
Right.
So exactly 2 years ago, we sat there in the, now what's the outfield of the baseball field, and we looked out at what was going to be. But coming here, alongside Chase, and certainly we knew what kind of caliber coach he was, but really, really neat moment to see what he's been able to do and his vision that he had instantly for this program, and a lot of it's coming true. So really neat, sort of historical moment.
And 25th is the old man's birthday, is it not? Chase Hodges, happy birthday,
That's
bud.
what we hear. That's what we hear. So hopefully he's enjoying his birthday and more importantly, his 2-year anniversary as a Grizzly.
Very nice. Well, congratulations again, Coach Hodges. Can't say it enough how great he's been on this show and how great he's been to us. And wonderful job, Coach Hodges.
Fantastic.
Indeed. So we keep the list right on moving here. Let's see number 7. Rolling into Lynn, Massachusetts for the AII tournament, the Grizzlies held the number 1 seed with a 44-9 regular season finish. However, the Grizzlies did not make it easy on themselves. After dropping the second game of the double elimination tournament, GGC was down to their last at-bat versus Fisher. Down 3-2, the senior Pat Long came up clutch with a 2-out RBI single to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th. Then, in the bottom of the 10th, with 2 outs, Ty Abbott draws a walk, then steals second base, only to be driven in by Sloan Strickland for the game winner. The emotional walk-off win propelled the Grizzlies to 2 more victories, which captured the AII Tournament Championship, the program's first postseason trophy. Somehow at number 7, the surviving Grizzly baseball in their AII Tournament Championship. So baseball goes away from Lawrenceville. They played a ton of home games this year. So they leave with their regular season. They go up to Boston. And it was kind of like Pat Coach Strom on the back, hey, good luck. Let us know how it goes. Because we were hosting AI softball, and what it may not translate is I'm not so sure we end up where we ended up without that base hit and that tournament championship.
Absolutely not. There's no doubt about it. And I remember that moment, and Pat delivering that big base hit, and it seemed like a lot of our rallies this year, Christian Van Camp got those going when things maybe weren't looking like they would be in our favor, and I was actually watching that moment on the laptop, and it was kind of grainy, and I think he just put that through the left side, and I think we just tied the game, and then we would go on and win it and propel us, and I think that certainly showed that we were hosting a regional, right? So we already knew, regardless of whether we'd won a conference championship or not, that it would have impacted our seeding. But to know that conference championship meant that much in their first postseason tournament was huge, and for them to find a way to win.
And I think what was great, we talk all the time about building a program and developing a repetition and having alumni and winning and learning how to win. I'm a firm believer in your program has to learn how to win.
Sure.
Sometimes that takes years to develop and have that championship moment that you capitalize on. What's great was they did all that the last month of the season. You think about the 2 walk-off wins they had versus LSUA and North Georgia, maybe a humbling moment with Faulkner down in Alabama.
Which you need, yeah.
But Pat Long gets in that situation, and it's like, I've been here before. We've been here before. This is easy. So then when you go to the regional and the World Series, Christian Van Camp told me at the World Series, this is no joke. After we got beat, he told me, it's all right, I got this. We've been here before. And I'm like, there's 4,000 people in the stands. People are asking for your autograph, and they just act like this was another day at the ballpark. It was just unbelievable, that character to shine so quickly in the tenure.
And I think that that moment that you have on that countdown, I think that was a huge part in that attitude and that spirit for Coach Stromdahl's team.
That's number 7, by the way. We're not even halfway home. Let's see number 6. After a perfect 14-0 regular season, a number 3 national ranking, and the top seed headed into New Orleans, Louisiana, men's tennis proved their worth versus the top teams in the unaffiliated AI Conference Tournament. A pair of cruising victories took down the first 2 teams in the tournament with 9-0 and 7-0 wins. That set up an anticipated championship matchup of top-seeded teams as well as two programs ranked in the NAIA Top 10 between Georgia Gwinnett and Xavier. This would also mark a rematch of the regular season contest which the Grizzlies were victorious. On that Saturday, it was another Grizzly victory by a score of 5-1. Checking in at number 6 on the top 10 accomplishments for Grizzly Athletics in 2013-14 season, the men's tennis unaffiliated AII Tournament Championship. So Chase Hodges and the men's tennis team goes down to New Orleans and wins a conference championship. And I remember leading up to that, our concern was they haven't played. I think they played one meaningful game the month leading up to that against Emory. And can they turn it on? Well, they can.
We did. We found out our answer. Yeah, they breezed through that one quite. It probably didn't do it justice to show where they had, in starting the season and coming out of the fall season, they had turned a couple of heads, but not really until they had some of those marquee wins in the regular season, and then certainly like our other teams, I remember talking to Chase after the match, and he said, "This is going to be our first postseason championship." No matter what we do from here on out. So this is very significant for our team.
And what was great was the celebratory moment. That was that picture at the end of the video. It was business for those guys. So the concern we had about flipping the switch, they didn't flip it, and they flipped it, and it was just there. It was normal to them.
There was still another switch that they were going to flip, as you'll see later on.
So we're through 6 through 10. Most of you have already seen that on our website. We posted this week. So from here on out, our top 5 is perhaps new material for some of you. So we won't let you wait any further. Let's get into the top 5 moments. The top 10 accomplishments of Grizzly Athletics for the year. The excitement that surrounded GGC's first ever postseason appearance was quickly overshadowed by the drama and shock that came with Steve DeCou's Grizzlies in the AII tournament. Held right here in Lawrenceville, Essia Borome's goal in the 79th minute gave the Grizzlies a 2-1 lead in the semifinals versus Cal State San Marcos. A frantic 10-minute effort by the Cougars was denied numerous times by Lewis Sharp and the Grizzly defense. The victory was only the beginning for Georgia Gwinnett. The Grizzlies made a name for themselves by shocking the number 3 team in the NAIA, Ashford, in a dominating score of 3-0. The AI Championship decorated GGC with their first ever postseason title. The Grizzlies would also make history appearing in their first NAIA postseason national tournament and their first season of NAIA eligibility. Taking the NAIA in our countdown by storm, at number 5, it's the Men's Soccer AI Championship. It's amazing to see that photo and think what we've done since that photo and how significant that photo was in that championship. And I say it paved the way because
without a doubt.
I remember our women's soccer team, our baseball team, men's tennis, women's tennis were in the stands watching those games that Friday and Saturday. And I don't think any of us knew what the AII was about or who these teams were or where they came from. And I feel like Coach DeCou's team gave us permission to do what we did in the spring. It was like, listen, this is an eye-opening experience for all of us, and you can do it too.
Yeah, I think, and that was really the time when that bar really was raised, right? So the first, for a while we had said, well, we haven't won anything yet, right? And so that was kind of the beginning of the things that we could yell and cheer and celebrate and take our pictures with the trophy, and that was huge for, internally with Grizzly Athletics, because it was all right. Coach DeCou and these boys have raised the bar, and what's next? And certainly they had a fantastic season. Dr.
Wilson had to build a trophy case because of that award, and he teased our coaches for a while that we don't have a trophy case because we don't have any trophies just yet.
It's getting fuller, as you'll see here in these next few.
And without a doubt, and if anybody's watching the World Cup now, they'll probably know what I'm talking about. That last 10 minutes of that Cal State San Marcos game was the most intense, the most dramatic, and our guys stood time after time after time, and it kind of propelled them, I think, because let's be honest, once we started that Ashford game, especially in the second half, they didn't have a chance. I mean, we just had all that momentum, and you can't stop a snowball coming downhill like that.
I agree. That's a great point, because it was definitely a different feel in the last several minutes of that game versus the final for very different reasons. we came out, and that was our first big test, and they passed with flying colors, and that set up the next day's win.
So our first trophy in Grizzly Athletics history is number 5 on our list. It's only going to get better from here. Let's see number 4.
As if improving your win total 21 games from the previous season, receiving votes in the NAIA Top 25 poll in your first year of eligibility, and breaking countless school records wasn't enough, Kat Eilenberg and the Grizzly softball team received the prestigious Champion of Character Award from the NAIA. With only one Champion of Character team award handed out per sport in the NAIA, you can call this a national championship built on character. With over 200 NAIA softball programs, the Grizzlies stood out over the rest of the field because of their exceptional character and sportsmanship on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. The Grizzlies have taken part in numerous community efforts, working with Special Olympics Georgia, Relay for Life, Dreamhouse Atlanta, as well as numerous softball camps and clinics in the area. At a proud number 4, the wonderful people of Grizzly softball and their 2014 NAIA Champion of Character Award.
Okay, unlike the 18 All-Americans, I actually can explain this one.
Yeah.
Coach Eilenberg recruits a specific type of person, and it has to do with decisions you make off the field and knowing right from wrong, and you can't even step in the door before you get that taken care of. And I think it shows with somebody like Heather Killar, who's our first Daktronics Scholar athlete. Cassie Littlefield's a great person. By the way, she can also hit 474 and slug an airplane, whatever the case may be. And so I think this award for her program means more than any other trophy the other team we have in our trophy case. It's just,
it does, and it should. I mean, it is a national championship. It is. Her program has done this. And it's not just there's a lot of components to it, and the core values, and the fact that they were able to do all that. By the way, winning 39 games, as you mentioned, is really special. And I think that's a great point about, that's the type of student athlete that she has said from day one, that you're going to come and be a part of this program. These are the things that we're going to do, and you're going to need to be on board with that. And she showed that can work, and they've had great success.
And talk about doing things the right way, building the program the right way, playing the game the right way, and it just shows. And it's a pleasure to cover and watch that team.
And I can't even tell you how many times that we, and not just for the softball team, several of our programs, but I would say more than anyone else, we've gotten emails. I've gotten emails. I know Darren has shared, Dr. Wilson has shared some emails.
Yeah.
Kat has shared some of where she's gone and played in a tournament or in a game somewhere, and whether it's been the umpire or the visiting team's parents or the visiting players or coaches that have taken time to reach out and said, we really respect the way that they run their program, the sportsmanlike attitude that they exhibit, and that they're doing the right thing. And for people to really take time out of their day to say, hey, I want to make sure that Georgia Gwinnett and the softball team, the administration, knows that this is what they're doing, not just when their staff can see them, but when they go on the road, is really what we're all about. So.
A lot more to that team, just more than balls and strikes and runs scored and double plays and whatnot. So Big thumbs up. Great job. Congratulations, without a doubt, to Coach Eilenberg and her program. That's 4. We've got 3 more. You can probably guess what those 3 are, but what order are they? We'll find out right now with number 3.
We continue our countdown by continuing to tell the story of Brad Stromdale's Grizzlies, who never seemed to quit. Georgia Gwinnett hosted one of the NAIA opening round tournaments, and for the second time in 2 weeks, the Grizzlies found themselves again facing elimination. The top-seeded Grizzlies were down 7-2 in the bottom of the 7th versus Westmont. The comeback was sparked by a 2-out triple by Christian Van Kemp, followed by a pinch-hit RBI by William Pascal. After Zeke McGranahan struck out the side in the top of the 8th, the Grizzly offense rallied for 6 runs in the bottom of the inning to take a 9-7 lead. Westmont had the bases loaded in the game-winning run in scoring position in the 9th when McGranahan struck again with his 4th strikeout, closing the door on the Warriors and giving the Grizzlies new life in the tournament. The Grizzlies battled through the losers bracket again and overcame an overnight rain delay to defeat Southeastern twice. The Grizzlies ended the game with a bases-loaded strikeout from McGranahan. The Grizzlies were headed to the NAIA World Series for the first time in their first year of NAIA eligibility. Dogpiling at number 3 is the Grizzly Baseball Lawrenceville Bracket Championship.
Nothing beats a dog pile. The dog pile, doesn't matter if it's tennis, baseball, softball, the dog pile is the greatest thing ever.
And I think what you see in that, and I had, for the first time, had kind of seen that clip maybe a few, a week ago or so, and seeing that side of it, from obviously remembering it from a different part of the stadium, but seeing the emotion and hearing the roar.
Yes.
I mean, that's the loudest. I would argue that, aside from maybe if something we had done out when we got to Lewiston, but the loudest roar that we've heard really in the history of the Grizzly Athletics complex, any of the venues. So just hearing what that moment and getting to run down on the field and give a big hug to Coach Stromdahl and some of the guys and his staff, that they had achieved that and really just, especially the way that was won. I mean, It wasn't like it was 8-0 in the 9th inning, right? I mean, we had to grind out every single strike, and there was one he's going to punch him out, and we walked him, and so that was a really special moment.
And I think what's not said in that is the feather in the cap, the icing on the cake, whatever you want to say, perhaps the legacy stamp for those 15 seniors, because if they lose that bracket, they've still done a tremendous job. But they took it upon themselves to say, you know what, let's take this thing another level, get on board, we're going to Lewiston, we're going to the World Series. So now them younger guys can go, I know what it takes to get there. So there's 15 graduating seniors. It's just gonna be a matter of filling in those spots for Coach Stromdahl.
And it touches back to what we talked about with the conference tournament. I mean, down in the 9th inning, this was 7-2 in the 7th with 2 outs.
Yep.
And again, our same guys we're mentioning, who by the way are seniors.
Yep.
And to all your points about what they were able to do and pull through in the clutch. I mean, it didn't look good when it was we had dropped certainly the first game in the field, and then playing the next night against Westmont, and the video is our best job of doing it justice. That's all I can say.
And again, I tell the story because I don't want it to get it misunderstood. We lost the first game of the World Series in Idaho.
Right.
And I stuck a microphone in Christian Van Camp's face, who's probably the most emotional guy in a positive way on the team, and he was just as calm as he can be. We got this. We've been here before. I got it. And sure enough, they go out and beat San Diego Christian and keep the season alive one more day.
That attitude was huge for them to be able to get as far as they did.
Those guys will be missed, and their legacy will not be forgotten for sure. A legacy that may be just getting started here at number 2. Let's check it out. A rally for the ages for a moment few will ever forget. After a heated 5-3 win over Lindsey Wilson in the semifinals, the Grizzlies were competing in GGC's first ever national championship contest. It did not go smoothly after the Grizzlies dropped the tiebreaker set at the number 1 doubles position to trail 2-1 going into singles play. Led by senior Paloma Cortina, who tied the match at 2 with her singles point, then number 1 singles player Valaria Pota gave the Grizzlies some momentum with her victory and a 3-2 Grizzly advantage. Amber Riddle would not bow out as they evened the score at 3 with a win on court number 4. However, Chiara DeSalvo won up the Grizzlies with a win of her own on court 3. Back and forth they went on court 6 as the Eagles would take the point and even the score at 4. The stage was set as all eyes were focused on the deciding point on court number 5. Ines Costamagna ended the 5-hour-long drama-filled championship match in her second set, giving Georgia Gwinnett the victory. At number 2, it's the Grizzlies' first ever national championship. You chuckled and I grinned. I saw you there. It's amazing to think how we had a front row seat to that leading up to it. We just get done in Lawrenceville. We drive to Mobile for the semifinals. We get a full night's rest somehow Friday night, and Saturday morning we get up to 2 national championship games, playing the same school, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was hot already. We met Doom right out of doubles play, down 2-1.
Fantastic doubles play.
5 hours later, we're still playing tennis, and we're tied at 4 going into that championship point.
5 hours, right? I mean, and that, obviously we touched on it in that clip with the, falling down 2-1, but what Valeria and Helena had done I think it was 5-0. They were down in that number 1 doubles court, and the first 2 had been decided, split with those 2, in a fairly routine fashion, and it was anything but routine on court 1. I know they won their six straight games to come back and surge in front 6-5. and then each was breaking each other, and then saved off a couple of match points against, when they were returning serve.
Yeah.
Embry-Riddle was returning serve, so that was an exhausting 9-8 first double. I think we were already at the length of a whole match after we'd finished this doubles play, and everybody that was there could appreciate that these were the two best teams in the country playing the best tennis.
Yep.
And that set the tone for what was going to be a neck and neck all
And
day.
without a doubt, the best environment I've been associated with all year, being right in the middle of that, and then our first national championship. It wasn't guaranteed by any means. We never had a thought that, hey, let's make room for this one, blah, blah, blah. We knew this was going to be a challenge. And I hate to ruin number one, but I think that championship moment that we get there, that Chase is running in there, and you see the girls coming, greatest moment of the year, I think.
That's the most euphoria, as far as, I think that and then that last baseball out to clinch I think those two, as far as just a feeling of wow, we can't believe that that our teams have accomplished this and the hard work that they've all put in, because you look at what they'd accomplished earlier in the year at reaching a number one ranking, and they fall in the finals of the conference tournament, right, to Xavier, and they come in with a chip on their shoulder. It's kind of that. It was a little bit the same way at number one with, okay, we've got something to prove. We're not the top seed, and to battle it out that way, and in an ace, at court 5, if I have that right, and Coach Hodges down there, we had some other reports where he had said, I'm with her that whole time, because I know that in his strategy that's exactly where it might come down to, and they needed a championship performance from an ace, and she came through, and we got to be in the dog pile, basically.
And somehow, right after that, we had to turn the page, because number one was happening moments after that.
When he says right after, that's exactly what it was. We were with the kind of the tournament committee, and it's funny that, I don't know if you had caught, but at one point, the staff with the NAIA had said to the training staff, you need to secure those coolers, because in the past they had a Gatorade moment right after the women's final. Well, it just happens to be on the courts where they're trying to play men's warm-ups and start right. So they wanted to make sure that the girls weren't gonna dump the water on Coach Hodges and then have a whole bunch of ice and water on the court where they're trying to start the men's warm-up. So it was some strategy on the backside of that as well, and just a really neat moment. And then absolutely and as the head coach of both teams, he had to turn around and kind of calm down, and okay, now we got some more work to do.
Let's see number one.
The Grizzlies would match up with NAI defending national champion Embry-Riddle for the 2014 trophy. The Grizzlies got off on the right foot with a pair of points in doubles play. Then, heading into singles, Connor Clements and Matthias Satine quickly picked up points number 3 and 4 for the Grizzlies. Next, senior Bruno Taberti brought home the NAI National Championship with the team's 5th and final point. The 5-1 win over top-seeded Embry-Riddle came in dominating fashion and only put the exclamation point on a perfect 21-0 season. The top accomplishment of the year for the 2013-14 Grizzly Athletics goes to men's tennis in its unbeaten national championship season.
I shake my head every time I see that picture. Just a phenomenal effort from those guys. And I don't know if anything you or I do serves justice to actually how dominant the Grizzlies were this season and that day in particular.
I mean, it was from the start. They obviously, like we had said, had played a very tough fall individual season and had turned some heads where folks started to think, let's keep an eye on these guys. I don't know that it was necessarily these guys are the odds-on favorite to win the national championship, and rightfully so. They had a couple of teams in front of them that stayed in front of them all year that, as well as we were playing, and we were beating everyone that we had played literally at all levels of NCAA and NAIA, and they had that last couple of hurdles. You couldn't have scripted it any better. They have 2 in front of them in the semifinals. They have number 1 in front of them, the defending national champion, in the final. To finish a 21-0 season.
And I think probably what doesn't serve them justice, to sound silly, but the score.
Yeah.
You only need 5 points to win a match. A lot of times in a regular season, you'll play out those points at, you see 9-0, 8-0, 7-0, whatever the case may be. if we had finished today, it'd have been 8-1. Grizzly National Championship.
And what a great kind of moment too for that is that, you know, they finish the doubles and they start the singles play, and we took the first set on all 6 courts.
All 6
right?
courts.
So, and in tennis, you know, part of that kind of team atmosphere, you now, okay, we won a game on 2, we won a set on, you know, on 3, and then, you know, when you win a match, okay, we won, you know, point on 4 or whatever court it may be. There was a point at which I think somebody in the Grizzly contingent yelled out, set on 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, it kind of gave you that, wow, you know, this is that, like you said, that snowball's rolling, and there was no stopping Coach Hodges and this team. That's probably the way to put it, is there was no stopping these guys this year, and now they're for the first time, they're going to be heading into a season as the defending champ, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to be the target that everybody has their sights on. So
Yeah.
that perfect season, you know, who does that? I mean, that's just so rare that's
Right.
that's the number one on our list for everything that they accomplished, and as you mentioned, as dominant as they were all year and in the final match.
So there's our top 10 accomplishments for the year for Grizzly Athletics. It's been a wonderful year. Ned, you and I are blessed to have a front row seat to it all. Final thoughts as we put a bow on the show.
I mean, this, you know, you could write this and show this video as the top 10 all-time accomplishments, and the fact that it was in our, you know, one season, let alone our first season of eligibility to do any of this stuff,
Right.
is really truly special. And we just want to echo again that everything that we're doing is for the fans out there and for the community in the Gwinnett area and Metro Atlanta to rally around what we're doing, and we want you involved. You know, we want you to certainly be out of the games and go on the website and learn more about everything we have going on, and certainly enjoy all of Matt's hard work and doing, you know, the job of telling all these stories. And if you want to, you know, get involved and get in the Grizzly Club, or if you're a student out there and you want to come out to games, or, you know, we've even had students that have said, how do we get involved with the athletic department? How do we come out and help out and intern or volunteer or just be a part of all of it? And just the momentum that's been rolling, and certainly validated by all the wins on the court and the field and all that has been a lot of fun. It's been a great start, and we look forward to having you guys join us on the ride that's ahead.
We want to thank all of our friends, family, alumni out there who have put up with me all year long. I only hope I serve justice to our coaches and our players and our athletes, that for their hard work and dedication that they put in all season long, and their commitment level. Along the way, we like to have a little bit of fun too, and I hope I know I've enjoyed myself. And I hope you guys have too.
We try, and we did get, you know, this is how he celebrates. He's here with us, you know, he's not on the show today, but we mentioned him. It's his 2-year Grizzly anniversary, and he's the birthday boy. Coach Hodges and Gabby Hodges over here enjoying a meal here at Newk's, and so we talk about him, and then he walks in the door.
Yep,
so.
Absolutely. Well, Ned, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for co-hosting. We might have to do this
Matt.
again next year. What do you say?
Absolutely. If we have half of the list that we just did this for the last 30 minutes next year, it's going to be another great season.
We promised you something special to finish the show, and that's what we got for you right here. These are going to be the Grizzly Athletics Images of the Year. Enjoy. I'm Matt Mahony saying so long, everybody.
Grizzlies, are you ready? Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! Jelly ready! Jelly ready! Yeah! Big cloud me! 1, 2, 3! Woo! Go, boys! 1, 2, 3, ready!